Okay, welcome to Monday Meetup on the last day of June. So, going into a new month. I know a lot of people are busy tying up the month, so glad that you could make it, those who are here. We decided that we wanted to really focus on customer appreciation tonight because a lot of people have been putting into practice some of Sherry Farrell's tips that Tanya shared with us, and some of you got to watch the recording of Sherry. She win first place, Lori, is that right, in Diamond Club? She won one of the top spots in Diamond Club anyway. She got 133 enrollments in 3 months. And she had been a struggling, I think she had fallen back to silver. She'd been a diamond at one time and was really on the verge of giving up. So Tanya had shared her story that she decided to recommit to personal activity. And one of the big things that she started doing that worked for her team was customer appreciation. So we'd shared some of her tips that really kind of boiled down to her just making sure she was intentional to get people making something fun. So she talked about doing candles, soap, even just a roller ball, those kind of things, and getting a draw for them to come, maybe doing aroma touch hand technique, demonstrations for everyone, and then having, just fun, light food and drinks, and having a wellness bar with taste testing of VMG, recharge, advantage. And then she said she kind of just changed some different things up, but she always made time to have everybody gathered and seated together where she could really share her heart about the business and about LRP, just really making sure people understood rewards, going through questions about that. But she really took a few minutes or maybe several minutes even to just share her heart about why she does doTERRA and what she loves about it, why she's so passionate. And she ended up getting some builders from longtime customers who just came for customer appreciation, but she hadn't really shared with that amount of vulnerability about the business side of it before. So she got some new builders. She ended up doing awesome in Diamond Club. And so she was gracious to do a couple trainings, one for diamonds, and then one she just did a recording with Tanya. If you don't have that, I can find it and pop it in the chat. If those of you who are on want to see that, or if you're watching the recording, just reach out. We've got that recording. So some of us have implemented some of the things she did for customer appreciation. And I know some of you have been getting people together for years. Again, this is not a new thing for you. Maybe took a little break during COVID, but not a long one, and you've gotten back to doing in person. But a lot of people I'm finding have just not found their rhythm with in-person classes again. And they're struggling with that and finding that virtual classes aren't working as well and wondering what does work. People aren't really showing up just for strictly education on like Oils 101 type classes because they can learn about that online so easily now. So what are people showing up for? Continuing Ed is great, but there's a lot of that online too. And so Sherry was talking about how the customer appreciation was just such a great draw because it's really about showering the customers with gratitude and doing something fun for them, maybe sending them with a gift or having them make something that they could take with them. And so have done a couple of them. I know that Stephanie has done, I think she did an in-person one or was going to, and she also had planned an online one. So we wanted to talk some about virtual ideas for doing customer appreciation as well, in case your customers are not close to you and you want to still do some type of customer appreciation. We do have some ideas for how to make that successful. But I also asked a few others who have done some customer appreciation events recently to come on and share. I'll share just some of my personal results first, and then I have a whole bunch of ideas. Some of them you'll be like, that sounds silly. That's totally not me. That's not my personality. I'm not doing that. Others you'll think that sounds fun. I could do that, or that sounds easy. So just take what you think would work for you that would not be outside of your comfort zone as far as what you could carry out. Or maybe you have someone on your team who could do some aspects of it. Maybe you could partner up with people to do different aspects of a customer appreciation event. And I thought this would be a good time to do it because a lot of people talk about doing a Christmas in July theme. Obviously, you don't have to do that. But if that sounds fun to you and you want to shower your customers and even get out some Christmas decorations just for some flair and some fun in July, that's a fun thing to do that a lot of people really like. And they kind of have more time in July than December, right? So it's kind of an easier time to get a lot of people out as long as they're not on vacation and that type of thing. So for me personally, I just invited the people that I had enrolled in the previous quarter because everyone else that's local to me, I had had other types of classes recently enough, but I really wanted to focus in on people I had enrolled in the last 3 months. And invited, I think there were, I don't know, 10 or 12 people I invited, and only five, six were going to come, and one couldn't last minute. So I only had 5 people, but I really felt it was very successful for a smaller event. And I like that smaller, intimate feel personally. So we did the hand techniques. I did iTovi scans because I have the biofeedback scanner for my Tovi. I now also have a Zyto, so I'm doubling up here. Um, but I did that, which was a draw for these particular people. And we just had some snacks and drinks in my kitchen, and I had them taste test, and I talked again about VMG, Recharge, and Advantage. And then they each got to pop open an E Omega in their mouth and try that. And then we went to my living room and they got to do foot spas. So I had done the foot spa thing, way back in Arbonne days, but since then too, some doTERRA leaders were talking about doing that again a couple years ago. So I had bought the supplies for it, and I've done it here and there, but it's a nice way to have a captive audience. So instead of making something for mine, they got to just experience. I made some bath salts, and I did the body wash to make suds, and then put in the bath salts, had them scrub with our sugar scrub, and then they did the spa body butter as the last step. So while they're just soaking, and I'm passing around the different ingredients and things for them to use to scrub their feet, I also get the disposable little pumice. They're not really stones, but they're the disposable ones so they could scrub if they needed to. That gave me the chance to hone in and talk about. I had them each share one testimonial. So you've been using oil. Some had only been using oil for a couple weeks. Some had been using them for a few months. Share something that's working for you, just to kind of get them sharing a testimonial. And then I got to share a recent testimonial of my own, and then I shared about rewards and the business. So of that, of the 5 people, one was already on LRP, but she decided to build, and she's coming to convention with me. 2 people who were not on LRP got on LRP that day. A third one, she actually had won a box of VMG from Tanya's Wellness Made Simple class, one of her foundational wellness classes. So she said as soon as she finishes that, she was going to start an LRP and get on VMG. She hasn't done that yet. And the fifth one, she is not on LRP yet, but she wants to meet again for a repeat scan. So she just ordered some of the things on her scan. She wants to meet again and talk about adding more things and getting on LRP. So I felt it was really successful for 5 people. I did get some good PGV out of that. I got my $250 boost this month, which I was really excited about. So that was, I felt very successful for just a small little customer appreciation event. And I want to do something like that every quarter and just, invite the people who weren't able to come to that one, but also any new people I've enrolled in the next 3 months. Then I went to North Carolina and I did one with Lacey. Lacey Grimm, a lot of you know her. She had 10 people show up, 10 or 11, and we had a really fun night. We made lotion bars together. So they had shea butter, tallow, coconut oil, and they could choose either adaptive or Shinrin Yoku oil to put in them while they were setting and cooling in the fridge. They did iTovi scans, aroma touch hand technique, and it was just a really fun time of fellowship. We had the wellness tasting bar, so they got to taste, test, and sample the things. And we did the idea that Sherry had. I didn't do this at my class, but we did it at Lacey's event, where we had a table just filled with kind of random different limited time oils or a diffuser or merch from convention, just different things, just one of each item on this table. And it on there was a sticker, like a post-it note, basically. It was nothing fancy.
Let me get my headphones so you guys want to listen to
Oops.
this.
Let me see if I need to mute. Um, so it wasn't anything fancy, but we just put a post-it note on each item with the name of that item. So Rome diffuser, or there was like the bubble up abode little kit with the little or scrubber thingy. Yeah, you guys know. So little things like that. So just had a little sticker on each one. And in order to claim it, they had to fill out a date for the next 2 months. She had a calendar printed out with her available dates to host a class. So they would write down, Crystal Garvin, July 17th, whatever. And then I could take the sticker off the Rome diffuser if that's the item I wanted to claim. And I get to take that home. And then she wrote that down and she will bring them that item that they chose at their class. So that was an idea from Sherry Farrell's training. And she got two or three classes. I think she got three classes booked out of 10 or 11 people. And a couple of them were like, oh, I never would have done this, but I really want that. Okay, I can get four or five people together. So it was kind of fun to just see the psychology of it working. We didn't have to say much, just, oh, here's this table and here's how it works. If you want to host a class for Lacey. And so that was fun. And she did get a couple new LRPs out of it. And we had some good conversations with a couple people about the business and convention. So yeah, we both felt like it was very well worthwhile and a lot of fun. So that was our experience. I know Valerie has done some customer appreciation recently. So a couple of you I know have also will have a chance for you to share, but we each do our own thing a little bit differently, have a different flair, have different results. So hope this will be encouraging just to hear different people's experiences. But Valerie, if you wouldn't mind to come on and share
Yeah.
next, that'd
All
be
right. So gosh, I love all of your ideas too. Like you just gathering more and more information right now. So Tanya had mentioned Sherry's strategies a few months ago, and I was really excited to try and do that. And so I listened to Sherry's video a few times to because I really wanted to copy her customer appreciation event because it was going to be my anniversary in June, my doTERRA anniversary, and I felt like that would be a great month to appreciate my customers. And so I did do a lot of what Sherry did for her customer appreciation event, starting with her verbiage, her inviting verbiage. I used a lot of her inviting verbiage for it. And I started also with those who were on rewards right now, who are currently on rewards. And I invited, they were my invite list, my guest list. And I invited all of them and then my personal growth list, and then those who have been to any of my, continued ed classes or, DIY gatherings in the past, people that I knew enjoyed coming and socializing. And I hadn't had a get together in a little while because I had been just discouraged at the amount of people that were coming out. Like, I mean, everyone is special, but I put in a lot of work for people to come over. And so this one, I was really hoping, that I wouldn't just get one person to show up. It would be more than one person. And I do think that we did have a really good intimate group that came. And so I did what Sherry mentioned. I taught on things like VMG, the MetaPower Advantage, Recharge. And the first night, okay, so I had two. I had two in 1 week. I did a Thursday night and a Saturday because some people work during the week and they don't want to get out in the evening. They just want to go home and go to bed and relax. And so I did set up one for a Thursday evening and a Saturday. And the Thursday evening, I taught in the living room and I had planned to have the groups break out in a couple of groups. And I had my mom help me, just like Sherry had her mom help her. And my mom was going to do the sampling in the kitchen, and I would go to my dining table and help people put rollerballs together. And because that I just couldn't invest too much at this time to buy a bunch of like DIY stuff. So I had things to make a rollerball. And so that's what I did. But so I taught on VMG and those three products. And then because it was a pretty small group, I want to say that was like 5, 6 people. We just went ahead and stuck together. We didn't break off into groups. We just stuck together. So we came to the dining table and we brought the samples over to the dining table and made rollerballs. And I did mention also, okay, so after I had mentioned I did my talk in the living room and I did mention LRP. I taught on LRP. I used a little chalkboard to teach on LRP so they could have some kind of visual, but I did make a copy of, all the details of the rewards program. And so we did question and answer, like, does making sure that everybody understood all that we were teaching about for rewards. And I did speak about hosting a class and what they would get. I showed the diffuser that I'm giving away right now. And then I did share about how to make money. I shared my, the reason why I do it and how blessed I am when people are just having the benefits of doTERRA, and it's just been a blessing to be in this like ministry. And so I shared that, and then we came over to the table and did everything else. And that's where I would do, I laid out all the prizes that, like, for the draw slips. I used my draw slips that I usually use for classes that has the questions like, do you want to know how to make money, and do you want to host a class? I did use those, and I laid everything out for them to pick what they wanted. So if I drew their names, they chose the gift that they wanted as their door prize. Saturday, I did things a little bit differently though. I went ahead and kept everyone at the dining table. We didn't move from living room to the dining table. And I didn't have my mom to help me that day, but it was another intimate small group. And so I taught on VMG, and then I made it in front of them, and then I poured it into their little sample cups and everyone tasted it. Then I taught on MetaPower Advantage and made it in front of them and sampled that. Then I taught on the recharge and I had them taste both lemon lime and strawberry. And they shared how they liked the flavor. When it came to the lemon lime, we went by the instructions on that sachet and on the package. And the lemon lime, everybody was making kind of a face, right? Like, it's too sour. So I was like, well, let's try this. Let's add a little bit more water and see how that tastes. So we did that, and I passed it around again, and everybody loved it. So I thought, hey, that's really just, the way we do this. Like, if you don't like it, you can try other things. You can even add a drop of essential oil into your drink. But I told them I always just mix them all together, and I like the taste of it. And I showed them how I do that. And so I thought that was something that I'd probably stick to anyways, like just teaching on it and then sampling it. But I think that was probably the one thing that I did have a table with all kinds of non-toxic products that I use in my house, and showed them how easy it is to have a rewards cart, because I didn't catch that question, Crystal, but if it's something that I need to answer, you can let me know. But I did show them the table. I said, look, this is what my family uses all the time. It's not hard to have a rewards cart, because you're going to need this type of like shampoo, conditioner, toothpaste, And so that, I think though, that next time I do something like that, I would probably teach a little bit more on like why you should be using non-toxic products, like the dangers of using toxic products and why you should be, I think I'll probably go a little bit more on that. I did make both classes. I had a green salad, um, and I made a cilantro dressing with lime essential oil, and everybody loved it on at those classes. So, I shared with them the recipe, and I can, if you want, I can put that recipe in the chat, but it was a healthy and delicious recipe. So, and everyone, wanted that. So, yeah.
Yeah, that sounds awesome. Yes, please do share your recipe. Stephanie said you could leave out a ditch and switch handout with the non-toxic products. Crystal said I make a mocktail with my recharge. That sounds yummy. Also, Heather said she adds lemon to the strawberry recharge. So yeah,
Mhm.
different ways of tasting. I think that was really smart when people didn't like it to say, well, let's try it this way, or let's mix it up differently, and see what you think. Because some people do like the VMG with more or less water. So I think that's good to in person be able to offer and get the honest feedback and say, well, let's change it up a little bit. So, so yes, people are asking for recipes for those who have them for dressing, for mocktail. That'd be great. Awesome. So, thank you so much, Valerie. Those were some great ideas. And then Stephanie and Sylvia also, I believe, had some ideas to share with us based on their past customer appreciations, whichever one of you wants to go next. Sylvia's unmuted, so we'll let her share her.
Okay. I also did my video, I think. Let me see. I can't see me. But anyways, can y'all see me? Good. Okay, so I did a customer appreciation this year. It was not like Crystal's, not as many people attended as they did in 2024. So I'm going to kind of talk about both of them a little bit. But here in 2025, I had like about 4 people, I think, maybe 5 people come. I don't know. But one thing that stands out to me about it is my sister-in-law came and she started buying essential oils, and she just went on my website one day and just started buying them and signed up for the LRP all by herself. And I think she's got like every oil that we have now. But I'm so glad that she came, because when she did, she tried the VMG and she says, "What? This stuff is really good. How much is it?" And when I told her, she's like, "Well, I've been doing AG1 and this tastes better. This tastes just as good." She said, "Just as good as AG1, and they don't give me points for it." So she switched. So that was really good, right? Good point. And I didn't even, this was in March. I don't think I'd really even taught that much about how the comparison of AG. I didn't even have to tell her that, any kind of comparison or anything. She just, it was the price for her. So, I mean, what she got out of that. So that was good. So let me back up to 2024, when I really had an amazing customer appreciation event. I always do them in March. So I don't know why the timing this March wasn't right, but last March, there about 10 people came, maybe 11. I don't know. But anyways, I think 11, including my somebody that brought one of my cousins. So anyways, what I did then is I like to do raffles. So I want to make sure that everybody can leave with a prize. So my game is like you're going to earn raffle tickets the whole time you come, and you get so many just for showing up on time or whatever, right? And then you get so many for participation as we go through it. And so then I have raffles, and when we do it, like if you win a prize, you can keep that prize. If you win again, you can trade that back, and I'll draw for someone else or whatever you want to do, but you only leave with one prize, so everybody leaves with one while it's small. When it gets bigger, when I get to crystal size, when I can rent a place, it'll be different. But right now it's like, I just want to keep it small. But one thing I love to do is play games. So I love dough trivia, but it's just not like, it wasn't enough people to like do that. So what I like to do is make it really easy, and I do a true or false. So I kind of do the trivia, but it's as a true or false questions. It can be anything from the products, about doTERRA. It can be about it would be O Awards now, but back then it was the LRP or whatever. And we talk about the new products. And can y'all see this paddle? I don't know if my phone, I'm having to be on my phone.
Yeah.
Can you see it?
Yeah.
Okay. So I got true and false on the paddle, right? So I've got a lot of these. I don't know, about 10 or 12 of these. And then I'll just have them hold it up, true or false. And then all the people, if they get it right, they get a ticket for getting it right, the answers. So I do like, I don't know, 10 or 12 different questions or whatever. And they really love that too. It's a lot of fun. So I do that. We do, I have everybody bring one of their favorite products they're using now. I mean, we all have more than one favorite product, but I'll just tell them to bring one of their favorite products and share about it. And they did it this time with 4 or 5 people here, but when I had 10 people here, that was the bomb. Like, they just sit around and had a conversation together, all of them, and they were like, oh, and they were sharing recipes. Like, it was the most amazing time with all of them getting around and doing that. Like, I just sit back and just listened to everybody and took it all in, and I learned things too. So it was a lot of fun. That one, with the 10 people, I did get one booking, that's all, but I got one because I got raffles for that too. That one booking produced 3 enrollments, but nothing came from that, but that was what it was. The one that did the host, I'm gonna try to get her to host again. So, when you have a host, it's good to get them to do it every 1 year or 2 years or whatever. But anyways, so that's pretty much what I did. I mean, I fed them too. I always feed them. So I made, what did I do? This one was a 10 o'clock in the morning. So I gave them like breakfast stuff, fruits, muffins and stuff. And I made dip with, I do Greek yogurt, and then I do a lime one, and then I do one with wild orange. And that's so simple. I use vanilla Greek yogurt and organic. And then I know it's got sugar, but that's what I use. And then I put wild orange in one and lime in the other, and people absolutely love them. So that's a big hit. I wrote down some things. I'm just making sure. Oh, I also always have been giving them the Dirty Dozen and the Clean 15 from the EWG website. So I print that off for them. I actually laminate it. Like you can.
Oops, she froze up for a second there, at least on my end. All right, if we get her back, she can finish that.
She locked up on mine too.
Okay. So she was saying she laminated. I'll remember that. All right, we'll come back to Sylvia if she has a thought to finish. But Stephanie, are you able to unmute and come share about your events? Because I know you did virtual and done lots of in-person ones too. Oh, okay, Sylvia, we got you back. Do you want to?
Okay, so where did I end?
You laminated those.
Okay, yeah,
And then
that was right.
froze.
Yes, I laminate them and they put it in their purses, and that is it. And that's pretty much it. So,
All right, awesome. Thank you.
you're welcome.
Those are great ideas. I'm making notes on the side too because I'm getting great ideas from all of you. All right, Stephanie has done in person and also she's either done or is prepping to do a virtual one. So let us know all your secrets, Stephanie.
So I apologize that I don't have my camera on. I got 20,000 steps in. We did a hike today and it was really gross, took a shower, and so I'm really not presentable, but I'm here. So I've been doing customer appreciation events. I was kind of looking back in my folder, keep a folder back from to 2019, it looks like. And what we did for years, and this depends on where you're located, but we have community centers that are free. And so I would actually reserve the largest room and we would have like 50 to 70 people come. But this is like definitely something that I had to do with a team because can't do it myself. And originally we would do it in like November, that it would be and we would have almost like a Christmas theme. So it would be really pretty. Um, so I had people just kind of handling different things. Like I had people that would um, kind of watch over the food, and we all brought food, and um, I was kind of the MC and the greeter. But anyway, so as far as what we did there, it was kind of different there than what I did last year, which last year was more of an open house, a come and go at my house, because I knew I couldn't keep, all those people in my house at one time. So we had like 20 to 30 coming and going in the house. And so just kind of different things. So the one that we did at the community center, we had food for them. I think we originally just did more of like a potluck, but then we changed it to like a salad bar, and we all wellness advocates all pitched in to do that. We had, I'm trying to think, this was like a couple years ago. I'm looking at my notes here. Oh, I see. So we had announcements, we were eating, we had a game, which was kind of like, I think what Sylvia shared with, questions about doTERRA. We had people with tickets, they would put their tickets in a raffle, we would give away prizes. But actually the best thing I found was, and Sylvia said this too, was actually the testimonies. So we would either, and this kind of depends on your budget. Um, we would either, if somebody came up, we would pick, well, I think at one time I had people volunteer. So I picked a few people to volunteer ahead of time. But then at other times, people that came up and gave their story, and I only gave them a minute. It's like, you have 1 minute. Um, they would get a prize and it could be anything, like you give them a sample or you can give them like an actual product. Um, and honestly, I could have done so much more of that because it is the most powerful thing. People sharing their testimonies. And then, like Sylvia said, then people start asking, like, what'd you use and how'd you use it? And, all of that. So you get them talking amongst themselves. So we also had, if you do like a holiday event, even if it's like Christmas in July, we actually had, because it was at a community center and we had quite a few tables, I did not want to decorate all those tables. We only had like a very short period of time to get in there and decorate. So we actually had a table decorating contest. So, and this would be like customers coming in, sometimes they're wellness advocates, and they would decorate a table, and that took that off my plate. And then and then everybody would vote on their favorite table, and the person who decorated the table that won would get a prize. So it was really just my way to decorate the room. It looked gorgeous. So we did that kind of a Christmas theme. And then the open house, which was come and go. Just trying to, oh yeah. Um, our community center actually started charging quite a bit. So I actually then had to move it to, I just moved it to my house. And I told people it was a come and go event from like 1 to 3. And we had, oil infused snacks. So we did, let me look at my other notes here. Yeah. So we did the black bean brownies with peppermint. We did wild orange power bites. They are delicious. On guard apples. The tangerine fruit dip, which is amazing. Um, I had somebody bring cilantro lime rice. Somebody else brought corn salsa, which has some sort of oil in it. I have to find that recipe. Um, just everybody kind of would bring stuff, and then I would have somebody like we had different um sections in my house. So the kitchen was obviously food. I had somebody kind of managing the food. My dining room was make and take. So people would go in there and make rollers. And I did allow one free roller per customer, like a 5 mil, but you don't have to do that. You could just, make and take station, like charge $5 or $10. Just give them that opportunity to make some rollers in there. So I did that. And then we had in my office, which was downstairs, we did the ITOV scan. So I had 2 people with scanners doing that. And then in our living room, we had Aroma Touch hand massages. So, and I had people assigned to each room. So obviously, depending on, the number of wellness advocates you can get involved would determine what you're doing. But people loved it. They loved it. And so we also had, raffles um, going on. Let me just see what else I had. I think what I feel like I could improve upon, which I'm hearing, I love your ideas, is the strategies. Um, we really I didn't have a lot of strategies for like scheduling classes and things like that. We did more of just treating the customers. I did have a lot of handouts. So I'd have handouts like a QR code with the recipes. I have a QR code for people to get the roller bottle blends. What else did I have? Trying to think. Um, but I think I love the ideas of just being more strategic with getting classes scheduled. Also talking about the business, which again would be more of a not an open house type of feel. So when I'm actually about to do another customer appreciation event, I'm actually in Rhode Island, but I'm going to be doing it in Texas in July, and I'm going to do it more like people just coming. And I'm going to focus on, we're going to have foundational wellness, so VMG, E Omega, PB Restore, um, education, LRP, and earning income. So all the things we kind of talked about and be more strategic that way. But then also I'm going to just do it different. So we'll incorporate testimonies, we'll have the oil infused snacks, we'll have the roller station, um, and just kind of depending on the number of people I have that are going to help me out, we may do the ITOV after, but all of that after I do that short presentation about foundational wellness and LRP and earning income. So, I love all that strategy. I think that's great. Um, the online event I have not done yet. It's still in the works in my brain. You can do things like bingo with different questions about doTERRA. We were thinking about um there was something else. I forget now, it's like right out of my brain because I have not sat down and planned it yet. But that was, that's something that's in the works with the online event. Crystal, if you can think of it, I feel like I can't remember who I was like talking about with the online event. Um,
Yeah, you just
it
told
was
me that you were planning one. I didn't know how far
yeah,
in the
it was
plan.
like bingo, but then there was another idea.
Well, I've got
Um,
ideas that I gathered
Oh,
that I
good. You can share those online ideas too. That'll be helpful as I'm in my planning stage too.
yeah,
So I hope those were some ideas. I know it just depends on the not like it really depends on
I
the
think
number of people
your
you
number of
have
people.
coming,
Yeah.
the number of wellness advocates you have to help you, and then your goal, for that event?
Yeah, I
So
think
is
it's
it going to
important.
be,
That's an important point you made, Stephanie, that the strategies, because it might be different. What is your goal? Are you really looking to increase your PGV? Are you just looking to foster community and camaraderie between customers, maybe get reactivations? Are you looking to book classes? Is that a big, goal that you have? So going into it with a strategy or looking at your own business and like, what am I really trying to do here? Am I trying to get to my power of three and I'm going to specifically invite the people that, affect that, whatever it is, for your goal to, we've all had a lot of fun customer appreciation events just for the sake of fun. But that was something that was different about Sherry's approach that I tried to put into place was looking at each event as what is my goal from this one? And for my own personal one, I had been challenging myself to increase my PGB before the compensation plan changed. So I really zeroed in on the people I had enrolled most recently. And at Lacey, she was really wanting to focus on booking classes. So we did the prize table. So there's some different goals that we had. But as for virtual, I've been gathering some ideas from other leaders who've been doing different types of events too. So the first one said that she does Christmas in July and she does it in her customer group. And it really gets everybody in the habit of checking for a new post every day because there's different tips and prizes and things along the way, and it has increased momentum. And that was one of her goals was to get the algorithm up in her customer group. And so she had some LRP love posts at the time, just really making sure people understood about LRP and doing some giveaways for people who either posted or commented, that type of thing. So she would post some images with some fun facts, a video, questions, engaging questions about the loyalty rewards program. So a lot of the fun facts, videos, questions, that kind of thing came from doTERRA's videos that they've done. And then she had some different images showing the perks of rewards, and she had engagement questions like, what do you use your points for? What is your favorite part about using LRP or being on rewards? That type of thing. And then she just sprinkled in fun giveaways. And that was her Christmas in July online event. And she did a lot of pre-promoting of that. She talked about too, like text blitzing out and just making sure people had their notifications on for the group. And then another one said she did hers more webinar style. So instead of a Facebook group or event, she did a webinar, and she had a lot of success with it kind of being like virtual stations that they had different builders on her team or different sharers kind of each take a section of the webinar and show using something like skincare or talking about the nutritional wellness products and showing like here I'm going to mix up my VMG and here I'm going to show you recharge. So trying to make it interactive and also having different voices so that it would keep people's interest, and then having even like virtual stations set up to show different oil usage books and resources. And then they could also screen share and do some images and share some recipes. And so some of them actually did make food to show instead of just like popping up an image of a recipe. Like here I made these orange power balls or whatever, and I'm gonna eat one and tell you how delicious delicious it is. Let you see it, and then just making just a little bit more tangible for a virtual event. So that was something that she said they just kind of tended to do that around certain times like Mother's Day, Thanksgiving, and have different themes depending on the time of year and really highlight gratitude for customers and pool together to do some gifts and prizes and things like that and make it as accessible as possible webinar style, not being in person, but still having kind of like virtual stations and that type of thing. And then for in-person ones, a couple of people who've had really successful ones lately were gracious to share some tips. And one of them just said it was important to really invite and remind, just like always with her classes, save the date emails. Sometimes they'll do postcards in the mail, doing a text blitz, that kind of thing. She said she likes to have people pre-register, even though it's free, because she needs an accurate head count. So she makes sure that people know they have to register. And then she had enough leaders on her team that they could bring the foods with oils like Stephanie talked about. People who did 100 PV LRPs over a certain time period. I can't remember if she said how long it was, maybe a certain number of times in the last year. They got in free and they could bring a guest who did not have a doTERRA account yet for free also. But if they didn't have the 100 PV LRP and they wanted to attend, she charged a fee, and it just depended on what the make and take was and what the supply fee was. She said anywhere from $10 to $25, depending on what they were making and what they were doing. So make a roller or something like that. She printed her labels and had brand new recipes so that it was fun and exclusive and not recipes that they'd seen anywhere else. And I have a few of those recipes I will share. They had cute names too. They were like Yawn, Soothe, and Arise were her recipes. So I'll pop those in just so you can get some recipes that maybe are different. And then she said that they try to pick a month. So they kind of deem a whole month Customer Appreciation Month. So August or July or whatever is Customer Appreciation Month. And then they send out invitations and advertise and they do some reports from their back office. So everyone is actually everyone's responsible to invite their own team, and they're asked to make phone calls, send emails, texts, whatever, just make sure they contact everyone. And she had a few different dates because she was doing this for a team-wide thing. So kind of like Valerie having a couple dates to choose from. And then she kind of did the same thing with the bigger team one too, where it was based on their LRP that particular month. If they had 100 that month, they could come free. And they could make 3 roller balls for free. And then also bring someone who's new to doTERRA. So she said it was a smashing success when she pooled together with her other leaders and did similar. But yeah, having different people to make the food or decorate the tables, all of those things, if you're having a bigger event, would definitely take a lot of the stress out of it. One year, Laura Garcia and I hosted a Friendsgiving type Thanksgiving themed event. It was in November, so it wasn't too far from Thanksgiving, but it was just for customers, and we asked everybody to bring a dish that had oils in it. Didn't matter what kind. And we kind of provided a main dish like a meat or something, and then everybody brought sides and desserts, and it was all so delicious. And everyone brought copies of their recipes to share. I did something similar to that at my house. I just asked everybody to bring something made with oils and have their recipe card, just one card, and people could just take pictures of it. So that makes it fun too, to have participation where you're not having to make all the food or that type of thing. So I love that table decorating idea, Stephanie. I remember seeing the pictures and they were so beautiful. So yeah, it's really just about loving on your faithful customers, helping people, see your team culture and want to engage and want to come back for more events. A roller make and take is super easy. Just, the oils, fractionated coconut oil. And that's an easy one that you can do if you want to get more complicated or you really like making certain DIY projects or have someone on your team who does that. Or if you want to even make a food item together, if you have a kitchen space to do that, or it's easy enough to do that, you can do those kind of things. A lot of people did mention that they like to do the bingo. One person said it was optional. So she did all the customer appreciation stuff, all of the sharing, all of that. And then everyone was invited to stay for bingo, but if some needed to leave, they could. But she put a whole bunch of oils in a big fish bowl and would draw an oil and give some tips about it, practical usage tips. And then people, would get oils. So most of them stayed because they knew they were going to leave with a free oil. And she also did hers. She said she had this other person had a focus on enrollment. So she did an enrollment giveaway. So any guests who came were invited to enroll and there were specials for them. And if they enrolled, they got their name in a drawing for a free VMG pack, all of the guests. So that, again, a strategy if you are really wanting to get new people in, give a perk for the customer who's bringing a new person and some enrollment giveaways and things like that for the guests who do come. Let's see, I had so many different ideas. A lot of them are similar to what we've already shared. Stations for skincare, nutrition, AromaTouch hand technique, MetaPower. Those are all things that we've kind of talked about. Whatever you're wanting to really focus on and highlight. And this we did this as a larger event in Greensboro. Lacey and I coordinated it and had a lot of leaders help. I know some of you were there even. And we had all these different stations led by wellness advocates, kind of like that with, supplements, different lines, the On Guard line, the nutrition line, skincare. And they got a card when they walked in, and then each station had a stamp. So they got a stamp at each station. And once they had been to all of the stations, they got a prize at the end that they showed their card. And so we had people checking people in. It was huge. It was a lot of fun. This was pre-COVID. So it was one of the last big things we did before. It was a lot of fun, but you could do definitely on a smaller scale too, something similar. Just depends again on your space, the number of people that you have in your area that would pitch in. But healthy snacks always go over really well. It can be really simple, or if you have a lot of people to help, you could do something fun with a lot of stations, kind of like if you've been to the post-convention events or even leadership or recent leadership conferences or conventions. I really like the lab area now, how they're having you walk through, and you could make your own surveys for things like this oil or that oil, kind of that sort of thing where like when we went to the last leadership, we went through the lab and we just had a QR code to scan, and it was like, do you prefer this version of Zendocrine oil or this version of Zendocrine oil? Everybody voted. Do you prefer this diffuser or that diffuser? And it's just engaging and fun. People love surveys. And then we went through and got to sample and try different mixtures of the recharge and things like that. So anything like that that you can do to make it engaging, and maybe you like to do Google surveys, that's fun for you. Maybe that's totally stressful and overwhelming. You don't want to deal with the tech. All of this is just throwing out lots of ideas. Um, One, I was so unique. I saw this comment. I just had to share it. She said, my local leader and I threw a customer appreciation event. It was a full-on Mexican dinner buffet with prizes and mariachi. So she said the latter was definitely the draw. So many people we hadn't seen in years came out for this. I was reminded of the power of music and wanted to share. I think there are many variations of this that could be attractive to our teams. A jazz guitarist, a string trio, a harpist, all are unique in a home or small event setting, and they're likely to get people's attention and attendance. So I just thought that was a fun idea. In my area, I could easily do like a bluegrass theme or something. And it reminded me too of like Tanya when I was at her house for one of her daughter's weddings, um, for kind of an after party the day after the wedding. She invited just neighbors, and one of their neighbors has a band. And it just was such a draw to have a live band there and just a fun casual event. So if that's something, if you know musicians and that's something that is getting your wheels turning, like, oh, I know someone who could do that. Awesome. Don't feel like you have to go out and find or hire musicians, but maybe you have someone on your team who would love a chance to do something like that. One lady said, I have a smaller team. So for the last couple years, I've just done my customer appreciation event after convention to showcase all the new products. That's always a good idea to do a convention showcase. And she said her last one was really a big hit because she did the stations and she kind of copied it after what they did in the lab on a very small scale. And then she also, for those who couldn't come, she kind of did a virtual walkthrough. She just did a video walking everyone through. So she had different people, sharers, different customers, even who were willing to pitch in and help lead a station. And so she was able to kind of make it both virtual and in person at the same time. So she was walking around videoing, getting testimonials, showing the different stations, explaining the products over video for those who weren't local and couldn't attend. And then she had a giveaway that included those who were virtual as well as those who were in person and that type of thing. So of course, in person, you can smell the oils and use and try and feel the things, and it's better. But even virtually, people seeing others smelling the oils and saying, "Ooh, I like this. It reminds me of that oil," or this oil, has this kind of quality to it. So she had those different stations. She said she had a diffuser station, spa products, skincare, on guard, supplements, a station to get scans. Um, and a station for each of the new convention oils and new convention products. And so for each giveaway station, each person picked a slip of paper. And if it said grab bag, they got to pick from a basket of smaller items like lip balms, packs of cute little like rollers, droppers, roller bottle keychains, 5 ml wild orange, that kind of thing. If it said grand prize on it, they got to pick from a collection of 10 to 15 larger items that she set out. And then everyone got a living magazine as well, which I think is a great idea. It's just a way to build community again, but also introduce all the new convention products. So again, it just kind of depends on what time of year, what your focus is. Um, okay, let me see if there's any questions. Glad you're enjoying the ideas. Oh, sharing how you demonstrated the path to 500. Was that Sylvia? Is that a question for Sylvia?
Yeah, that Sylvia, I know how she did the business thing, and I think that would be cool to share. But I was also curious since you said that you got, an interested builder out of it. Like, how much time did you spend talking about that?
Yeah, for me,
How'd you do
it
it?
wasn't as detailed as probably even what Sherry did. I just remembered her saying she shared her heart. So I decided to just go into it. It was only 5 people, and I just wasn't going to have notes or anything. And some of them didn't really know me well, and didn't know my story even. They just know me from co-op or church or something, and they don't even know my whole background. So I just kind of shared how I got into doTERRA and shared what it's done for my family. And I just put the invitation out there that I love to help others who want to pursue doing something like this, and I did kind of use the 500 path to 500 language because it was a pretty recent event, and invited them that they could come learn about if, $500 a month would make a difference for their family. I would love to show them how we could help them do that. And I just kind of just put it out there. I mean, it was all, I'm trying to think, yeah, all homeschool moms. So that's pretty common anyway and nobody was like, oh, MLM or side gig. They all kind of do that sort of thing anyway. But I just wanted them to know my story and that I would love to be the one to help them if that's something that they needed and or were interested in, and it just happened to resonate with this one person. So it really wasn't even something scripted that I could repeat, but it probably was just like 5 minutes. And I remember feeling a little self-conscious at one point because they're all just kind of looking at me and I'm thinking, is this getting through? Are they bored? Are they wishing I would stop talking? But I just kept going and shared why I love what I do and invited them to consider, and 4 of them didn't and one did. So that's all it takes, right? Sometimes it's just that one person. But yeah, Sylvia, you had a path to 500
Yeah,
message.
I guess I forgot about that because I needed more people here to really make that hone in that point. But so back in my jewelry selling days, we used to do these little skits to get people to see how much free jewelry they could get if they did hosted a class. And so I'm like, well, I'm going to do this to see so people can see how much money they can get if they decide to do the path to 500. So I got some like Monopoly money and I just had used that. And I had like 4 people. And so like it was, one person was the enroller the first time, and then they had 4 friends that it was 5, it was supposed to be 5 people. I think I only have 4 people here, and I had to have a phantom person. Yeah, it was really not good. So I was like, I had to have a little phantom person on the side. And so and I just divvied out the money like, okay, so this person bought, I'm doing fast start, and then I'm doing like what it is whenever they're the next month that they get it again, and how it snowballs, and then how the person that enrolled all of the first one or whatever, like how they can just get $500.
Mhm.
And I don't really, it's been a while. March, like I said, it was a flop. But I want to hone in. I want to do that. I think it's really good if
Right.
if I practice it and I have enough people to like really let people see. But it
You could
really shows that
write out
they can make money.
instructions and show us how you do it, or come on business group or something. Do a little video for us. That would be
Do a
fun.
video and have some phantom people. Let's see. Let me get some stuffed animals.
But
That would be kind of cool.
I
Or
used
get
to
all my
practice
grandkids.
when
Hey, I
I
have
was
7 grandkids. I could make all of them
there
line
you
up and
go. Grandkids would they would participate for Monopoly money. Right?
But
I used to practice to throw pillows on my couch when I was first practicing,
yeah,
and my kids, they were little then. So
yeah, yeah.
I like that. Just the visual representation of the path to 500
Mhm.
is a great idea. So, and I'm finding just with the Wellness Made Simple and the path to 500 classes, I'm finding that's a hard sell as a first introduction. So I'm really not inviting brand new people who've not used any doTERRA to those classes. What I'm finding is like the people that I've recently enrolled or recently shared a sample with or thinking about enrolling, those are the people that they've already tasted or experienced or gotten interested on some level, and they're the ones that I'm getting to come to the Wellness Made Simple, or people who've heard a little bit about the business from me, just enough to pique their interest, and then they get on the next path to 500. So, and we have the tomorrow night, I think. Tanya forgot to put out the sign up for the next quarter until yesterday. So I know she could use some help, or she'll just teach it herself. But if anyone's available tomorrow night for teaching the path to 500, and then she has the next quarter available. And I just encourage you to think about teaching once a quarter, even just to kind of keep the information fresh in your own mind. I find it's really helpful. I remember things about the products. And sometimes Tanya does tweak the script or add some new information. But it also is nice to have a recent recording where I was one of the teachers to share with my people who will not take the time to get on a live one but want the recording. So I save those and I'm able to share that. So think about doing that in the next quarter. Tanya's got that Sign Up Genius list out. Valerie, did you have a question or want to say something? I see your hand raised. Oh, you're not mute. You're muted. Sorry, you're not unmuted. There you go.
Forgot. Okay, so when you had mentioned like when you get people in together in person and they have the opportunity to smell the oils, it made me remember that I do talk about why you shouldn't be using like body sprays and perfumes, and so I usually will bring out my perfumes, which are like doTERRA blends, roller balls, or things like, rose, magnolia, those types of oils out. And so I do bring them out and everybody smells and we'll go around the table and like everyone smells each one and they find their favorite perfume. And so like people are like, I'm putting that in my cart right now, like, and then like, oh, I didn't know you had this one. And, like, so that's another thing that I just thought about.
That's a great idea. Yeah, I've had so many people that would have never ordered neroli and then they smell it in person and they just fall in love with it. And so that's a good thing to bring out the pure fumes, right? And Stephanie, did you have another idea to share?
Oh, so this, I wasn't sure if I should share this, but I'm going to share it. Um, Something recently, like something I really feel uncomfortable doing, but I've noticed that it helps people understand that this business opportunity is real, is I actually share what I make. And I've shared what I'll say what I made from like to 2020 until now. 'Cause it's been, there's fluctuations. And I know that some people are new here and maybe that's something you don't want to share like yet, or maybe you want to talk about, like I actually borrowed Crystal's story for a long time before I had my own. Um, and lately doing that has actually sparked so much more interest because people actually realize that I've actually made money and real money. And like, my husband was unemployed for 3 years. doTERRA's income got us through that time. It's like a big deal in today's economy. And so I've had so much more interest. Like I've recently just some new friends I made in the last year that are considering other opportunities. And both have said to me, after they're, in a certain homeschool program for the year, like they committed to that for this year, and leading it. And so they've said, I want to talk to you after this year is over. Um, but I've been honest about that, and it feels weird. It feels uncomfortable. But I think it's important for people to know that, like,
Mhm.
I'm not talking about monopoly money. I am talking
That's
about real
good.
money,
I
and I
think,
love Sylvia's idea. Like, I think that's fantastic. So,
yes, because
yeah,
that speaks to people. $500 a month is huge for a lot
yeah,
of people, but it's a starting point. And
yeah.
that was something I did too at my recent customer appreciation. I'm glad you mentioned that because I also I didn't give out, dollar amounts or numbers. I just said, and a lot of them didn't realize. I just said, because they know my husband's working now. Again, he decided to go back to work in the fall since our kids are older and he's not really needing to homeschool them with me anymore. But I just said, he took a decade off work because of my doTERRA business. And that was like, he did what? Like he just worked on the side or freelance? Like, no, he didn't work for 10 years. And that allowed me to go to conventions and do other things. And that was because of our doTERRA income. And that was, very eye-opening
Sorry.
for some of my newer friends who didn't realize that this was actually our main, family income. So I think it's important. And like Stephanie said, you can borrow the stories of uplines or sidelines people that you know if you want to share a variety of different testimonials on the business. I think that's important too. And I remember that for a long time, Stephanie shared mine. I'm like, of course you can share anything you want about my story, and share your own as well. Just even if you're not making even $500 yet a month, share why you're working toward that and really share why you're passionate about helping people with this, what it's done for you. And that's going to speak to people. So I
It
think
does.
to that
Um,
simplicity.
sorry, Crystal.
Go ahead.
Oh, I just um like the other day, a lady she kept talking about, she used to be with doTERRA and she came back, but she said she tried to do it. She didn't really make any money. And then I heard her talking about how she wanted some like residual income, like she was looking for a residual income business. And then later on, when I was talking to her alone, I shared my personal story and income. She's like, I had no idea that you made that and that that was possible. And, like, you know, she felt like she didn't make anything when she did doTERRA. So I was just kind of there to say, like, it's for real.
Yeah.
She goes, well, I guess I really didn't like commit to it. Like she kind of realized what was possible. So I do, it isn't, I think it's important to share real stories, to share and not be afraid of that because it is, the opportunity is amazing. And, we need people to know that it's for real and that it is changing. It's changed our life. And I always tell people it's the best financial and health decision I've ever made, so health wise for my family and financial, also for my family. So yeah, I just wanted to encourage you to share that or share your story or share somebody else's if you're just starting out. That's totally fine too.
Mhm. Yeah, that's good. That's a good note to end on because that's really what Sherry kind of wrapped it all up with was she had been shying away from sharing really her heart and why the business was so meaningful to her. And when she started doing that again, that's when people started perking up to the idea and asking more questions. And she got a few new builders. And so that's what, her result was from her customer appreciation. It wasn't even necessarily her intent going in. She just knew that she needed to be vulnerable and share again and in a way that would be potentially attractive to others and not hiding what she does. Because I think that can be, you can slip into that pattern. It can be easy to do, or just like, I just want to be a normal person. And then you're this normal person who comes out with, oh, by the way, I make, this much, or I've been doing this with this business. And people are kind of are shocked by that. Or they just, like you said, don't think it's possible, or they know someone that tried and it didn't work out that way for them. And that again is a good point, Stephanie, that we have to just always be honest with ourselves. How much commitment and effort are we putting into it in any given season? Because if you work the business consistently, it does work, but it's not get rich quick. It's not easy money overnight, right? We all know that. So it's important to be realistic and paint that picture that's realistic, but also shows it's worth it. And I think inviting people to these type of events also is just so attractive because people they are craving connection and gathering in a meaningful way where they really feel part of a community, and we can provide that through our oil communities. So hope you got some great ideas and would love to hear if you're going to do Christmas in July or plan something coming up. And if you have other ideas that work out really well, we'd love to hear about those in the future. Next week is Empowered Success, and hope you all have a great 4th of July. Have a great weekend celebrating whatever that looks like for you, and we'll be back here for Monday Meetup in 2 weeks. Good night, everybody.